Y'all see, man, due to these recent events, man, your boy Donald Trump has really took the office, man, and he took off like a speeding jet, man. And the things he's doing is past unconstitutional. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that claim to be upright, upstanding, regardless of your race, color, creed, agenda, who don't cause him out on this is a culprit. I don't know what to say about that, man. But he's cutting all types of programs from EBT to housing, you name it. The Justice Department. He's taking down the visuals of some of the great works the African Americans have done in this country. For what reason, I don't know. There's countless of images of white America and what they contributed to this country, whether they actually done it or not. But we're not gonna get into all that. This video is more so about speaking to my black community, because regardless of how they try to word it or nickname it, the attack is on us. The attack is on black people. And I'm not saying we're the only ones that's under attack, because you see the Hispanic community with what they're going through, and maybe the Jewish community and some others. But I have to speak to our atrocities, because they have been the greatest and the greatest atrocities in the world, coming up from slavery and the Middle Passage brought to this country, and even up through Jim Crow and all of those times. But nonetheless, you can see how the government and certain white America act out whenever they feel like the black community is busting past the barriers that they try to put before us. Because like I try to tell a lot of people, I believe it was never meant in the minds of those at that time, not saying those today, and I'm not saying all white people are racist, but you got to think of the ideology of these devils that are. And I believe it was never meant for us to make it out of slavery. And then when we did, we was only to be indentured to other services, factory workers or what have you. And every time we, built something like the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was the richest black neighborhood in America at the time, that had a plethora of millionaires. They had numerous of businesses. I mean, you really didn't have to leave the community. They said that the dollar turned over 21, 22 times before it left. So imagine that today. I don't believe the dollar turns over one time in the black community. But nonetheless, we still found a way to get capital gains and make it. And I think that's what you see. You see a outlash against, damn, how is these niggers able to make it with all the barriers, redlining, putting foreigners in our community and giving them loans to put up businesses and things of that nature. So I'm saying, where's the celebrities? It's time for us to come together and make a nation, man. Where's the people with the money? Where's the people with the leadership? Where's the people that have a plan? And if they don't, I do. And as you seen Trump and his whatever gang, his racist political gang, the MAGA gang, constructed Project 2025, you can see where the first day in office, he's signing a plethora of executive orders. So I understand that whenever there's a transition and you're at a certain level, and people who's supposed to have a certain level of knowledge and intellect, and specifically about politics, that they're going to construct a plan when they're coming into office. Okay, and this plan, when you're in the institution of presidency, usually deals with foreign policies and dealing with the country as a whole and infrastructure, so you don't have what happened out there to the bridge in Baltimore, and just making sure that the states are united. I think that's the number one goal for the government of America, is to make sure you're united and that we're all moving on one theme. And I know different states are going to have different things and laws, but at least one common theme to uplift the nation as a whole. This gang, this racist militia, and their culprits like the Proud Boys and all those people who stormed the Capitol, I mean, you can only imagine if they wasn't white people if they even would have made it to the Capitol, and had they did made it out alive, then to go and see all of them pardoned without any checks and balance, who they're letting out, was any of them repeat offenders? And I say this as a felon, not a felon, I'm someone who have committed a felon in my past, and I have overcome those things. But I just think that's just a obstacle that too many of us as black men have to encounter throughout our upbringing in this country. But nonetheless, we still try to find the beauty in this nation, because after all, our forefathers did build it, literally. And the things you know about is just only a drop in the bucket of the total contributions that we made to this country, let alone the world as a whole. And they constantly try to minimize us, and we ain't nothing. But the minute they get a chance to get a piece of power, they direct all their attention on us. You know, the people that's supposed to be the most incompetent, the people that's supposed to be the laziest, you know. But for some reason, they feel like their success is only predicated on our downfall. And I don't know, you know, I don't know. I have some ideas of why that could be, but nonetheless, this is more so about reaching out to the black nation of America, the black upright standing citizens of America, the black taxpayers of America, the black hard workers of America, the educators of America, you know, the blue collar workers of America, the lawyers, the professionals, the basketball players, you know, the rappers. I'm calling all of you. I'm not putting no demands on anyone. Me personally feel like we all at this point and long before have a duty to make sure that regardless of who's in office, regardless of what party, Democrat, Republican, who has the majority seats, that our sole existence, or at least should I say, our prosperity in this nation and for what we put in it, doesn't get dictated by one man, which we know is more than that, because you can't be president without the majority of some facet, be it electoral college and or popular vote putting you in office. So we know that story. And if you don't, basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of people out here lying to you about who they're supporting and why they're supporting them. And if they're not lying, they're just not divulging that information, and they're keeping their true personality and demeanor about their outlook on certain people in this country dormant. And the minute that they feel like there's someone in a position of power to back them up, all that comes spewing out. Another thing is you see Donald Trump has always been a man of wealth in his life. I don't know how many generations back his family goes with dealing with wealth and abundance in this country or abroad. I don't liken him or his family to those of like a DuPonts or the Rockefellers, but nonetheless, you know, here you have it, a rich snob who's never struggled or been without a day in his life somehow connects with a base that's majority poor and white, middle class and white, or just overall racist and white. And when you look at his life and break it down, there is no relation to Donald Trump's life and this white bigot or racist who lives in the trailer park, or even the ones who gets up and gotta go bust their ass every day to make a living, even if they consider that living a good one. What policies or politics do you resonate with Donald Trump? Because he's from the uber rich. You're not in his tax bracket. You don't wear the suits he wears. You don't have a house down in Key West or whatever it is in Florida, the Mar-a-Lagos. I don't see your name up on buildings in New York City and LA and every major city with hotels. So what is this base resonating with this man on? I'll tell you what, the sheer thought of a demagoguery racist president being in office who feels like he's going to have no restraints about his racism and stripping those niggers and immigrants and foreigners, or should I say minority or people of color, of everything they have. Because the one thing they can't stand to see you have is a piece of prosperity. It's money. See, as long as you're beneath them, as long as you're scrubbing their toilets and taking minimum wage, everything's fine. But soon as black people start making this money, and it's still nothing compared to what they make, don't get it confused, but it's enough to where you ain't got the clean toilets and you can enjoy life. And see, we learned that from our brief history coming out of slavery, hard work and determination. But they'll try to flip the narrative as if we're the opposite, lazy and ignorant. But you know, if we was just that, what the hell you come to Africa stealing us for? 500 years later, we see why you have America. That's why. Because they didn't just come and steal, ignorant, lazy motherfuckers. They came and stole the best of them. Doctors, lawyers, builders, scientists, engineers, and that's what they brought here. The strong ones, you know, the resilient ones. So that's why they have to, you know, create the narrative that you're everything but someone is worthy of praises and love and credit for your contribution to society and to the world all over. But this isn't really even about Donald Trump. I actually was contemplating on voting for Donald Trump. Oh, you up here talking this and that, and you was contemplating on voting for Donald Trump? Well, let me tell you why. Because I knew Donald Trump was going to do exactly what he's doing. Hit the switch on in people's heads to make my people in particular continue to do the works that Martin, Malcolm, Marcus, Meggett, and countless others, the Panther Party, my brother out there in Chicago who the feds killed, the one they did the movie on, but his name will come to me. Y'all know he as a young brother was a genius, man. I'm even embarrassed to not remember his name at this moment, but I will say it before this film is over. Yeah, and you gotta understand, us as black people being in this country that is ours. I would never denote the fact, yes, it's our country. Is it ours alone? No. Do we safeguard it like we are entitled or better than anyone? No. But you can't deny the blood, the sweat, the tears for centuries that we put into building this country. And I'm talking literally blood, sweat, and tears. Hell, not even just building this country. Can you imagine the tests for medical advances that was used on us, you know, and things of that nature? But nonetheless, the reason why I didn't vote for Donald Trump, because I love my mother, I love women of color, as I love all women, and I didn't want to pass up an opportunity not being on that side of history had it transpired. But Had she not ran, and Biden, who to me is just as worse as a Donald Trump, would have ran, I would have voted for Donald Trump. Because unlike Donald Trump, Biden is going to tell you one thing and do another. Biden is going to say shit like, if you don't vote for me, you must not be black. See, that's the type of shit they say when they want to get black people in line. However, Donald Trump has been telling you for day one about MAGA, what their intentions are, and what they come to do. And with that said, you know how to respond, prepare, and react. Okay? And at this point, and after seeing all he's done in his first week of office, there's only one way to respond and react. And that is the same way that they came. They didn't come as Donald Trump. They might have been led by Donald Trump. They didn't come as the Proud Boys. They came as MAGA, which is an acronym for We Are Some Racist White MFs that don't want anyone other than white people to enjoy the fruits of their own labor that they contributed to this country. Why? Because they feel like their position of power has been threatened just by your sheer existence. You asked, 2025, I was thinking, you think those white politicians that's in the Democratic Party, those ones that's been around, like per se Joe Biden, didn't know anything? Whether they called it 2025, the plan, what we gonna do, you think he didn't know anything about that stuff? You gotta be a damn fool, okay? What you have, black people, is a Democratic Party that, for the purpose of being in power and doing things the way they want to do it, yes, the white people in the Democratic Party will oppose certain things from their Republican counterparts. But when you start mixing in the ideology of racism, and you have to putting them in a position where the narrative has been set, what side are you on, black or white? That racist white, regardless of his political affiliation, is going to pick white every time. He might not be as bold as Donald Trump and pick it in the open, but he's going to side with white. And you may say, well, no, I don't see them out there saying, make America great again. I don't see them saying X, Y, Z and this, that, and the third. Well, you ask yourself, you got people like Joe Biden and all these people who's been a part of the democratic and political structure of this country for long as I've been born. And now I'm 44 years old. Okay? So anytime you have a racist regime such as MAGA, led by President Donald Trump, spewing the rhetoric, hatred, and using the demagoguery tactic that he used to spark a sale in the racist minds of the white citizens of this country, and someone like them don't speak out against it, and they stand neutral, they're just as guilty. They're just as guilty. Can you imagine if nobody in the hip hop community, nobody of stature in the black community didn't speak out against Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs? Now, maybe the people we wanted to speak out, the Jay-Z's and the XYZ's, didn't. But there are a lot of people in the hip-hop community that spoke out against that shit that Puffy had done. That was just from one tape. That's just from one tape. I don't pretty much see them speaking out. And when I say them, I mean those white politicians. I mean those white giants, tycoons against MAGA and Donald Trump. No, what they do, they cozy up to him. Mark Zuckerberg and the Amazon guy, you know, because they're the real DEIs, because they ain't paying taxes and they getting the biggest grants from the government. Like Elon Musk and his space project, he get millions, maybe even millions from the government to help fund that. You think he's using all his money? No. These big contracts the government hand out, who you think are getting those? Hell, even right here where I'm from, you can't even drive down the road now without paying an Easy Pass. They have outsourced the roads to private corporations and charging the same citizens that pay taxes to build and construct the roads. And I say that to say the first week Donald Trump has cut EBT, housing, civil justice department, a halt on all executive positions in military and government branches. Like, it's ridiculous. He's supposed to be the new president, but everything he's doing is unprecedented. So, we know they came with 2025. They've been saying it, oh, this is new thing. Donald Trump denied knowing anything about it. Nonetheless, it's here. So I say to my fellow Black Americans in particular, and afterwards to all my poor people, because that's who the war is really on. You can be tricked by these racist antics of MAGA, but I can guarantee you, you can be out here calling this one, that one, fighting with this one and that one, and I bet you the people out there doing it, ain't none of them got over $250,000 in their bank account. See, because when the shit hit the fan, Donald Trump, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they ain't gonna be the ones out there swinging swords and axes and ducking bullets and taking taps on the jaw and doing this and that. Same way they won't out there when they ran up in the Capitol. No, he put the battery in all y'all back. See, all y'all went to jail. He ain't never go to jail. He called all them charges. Donald Trump ain't never go to jail. And I know ain't none of y'all out there wealthy or rich, because your ideology wouldn't have been that low to go out there and commit such an atrocity on your own land. You know, if you was, you would have knew of other ways, especially if you white and rich, to get your point across and to combat what you feel has been an injustice. I've never seen a rich white people in America resort to violence to be heard or get their point across in the American government. Now, I'm not saying abroad. Yes, they use the military to get their point across or get the agenda done or whatever. The 1% of America or whatever. Yeah, in other countries and that, yeah, they do that. But on their own soil, the only time that has ever been done to that magnitude prior to January 6th was to a town in Tulsa, Oklahoma that they called Black Wall Street. And just like those white people was enraged and ran on the Capitol building because they feel like they wasn't being as privy to whatever it is that they felt they should have been. Those white people back then went and destroyed my brothers and sisters' community. No, not because they was robbing and killing. Because they was doing the opposite. They were saving lives and prospering. And built something for themselves. See, you gotta understand one thing before I shut this off. And I want to get back to why I said that I would have voted for Donald Trump. Because I believe, even though we as a people, black people, have come a long, long way from our introduction to this company, you know, having to be as creative as we happen to be with hip hop and the foods we eat and making something out of nothing. See, and the poor white community didn't like that because in their mind, they've been trained to think the reason why they don't have is because of the black people taking all the advantages because of DEI. No, that's not it. It's because of your racism. And you've been trained and indoctrinated to think you're privy over others that don't look like you without putting the work in. And the world, maybe not America, but the world is moving forward. The economy is global. Socialism is global. You know, you can turn your phone on now and tap on any app and talk to somebody in any country you want to just as fast as you can dial your neighbor's phone number. But you people, MAGA, the people that's being indoctrinated with the train of thought of what Donald Trump is preaching, and those who have always had it and never let it go since the indoctrination of the Willie Lynch theory. You can only visualize black people in one way: as servants, as second-class citizens, as someone you can kill, do whatever you want to do to, and have no repercussions. Sorry. That's no longer. And you know that. And what do Donald Trump do? He go and do exactly what he said he would not do. Use the government, particularly the Justice Department, as weaponizing it. And that's all he's doing now. He's using the government and weaponize it against minorities. He's doing the Exodus movement with the Hispanic and Latino community, some blacks too, the Haitian brothers. And he's trying to do the financial and economic dispelment of black people from receiving any residuals from all the taxes they pay by way of diminishing these programs that he know a lot of us benefit from, but not knowing that white people benefit the most from them. See, it's one thing to construct a plan, but it's a whole nother thing to carry it out. See, coaches construct plans every day, but to carry it out, Michael Jordan got to go out there and dribble and carry that motherfucker out. See, Michael Jordan got to run that triangle offense to get them rings. You see, and that's part of what they're upset. See, They want to carry out the acts that their forefathers did with their racist temperament. But they know they're not going to get the same reaction. So they try to go about it in a sophisticated, evil way and cut off programs that they know women, children, and suffering people need. Programs that people, tax dollars have been put into. So I say to my community, I'm proposing a plan. I'm writing it right now. It's called Prosperity 2029. This will be the total combatants of the racist ideology of MAGA and its movement and its leader Donald Trump from Project 2025. Mind you that what I'm constructing with Prosperity 2029 is not a hate. Project. It's not a discriminating project. It's not an evil project. But it will be a winning one. And with this project, it will have stages that include all walks of life. My white brothers and sisters, my Hispanic brothers and sisters, my Asian brothers and sisters. Because believe it or not, poor people of all likes are really the victims of MAGMA and Donald Trump. A lot of you just don't know it. But you will. These 4 years may be trying, but some magnitude, I believe they was necessary. God does everything for a reason. And though a lot of black people in this country have come a long way and made achievements that some of them may have never thought they would, or seen achievements that they never thought they would, it's still a lot of us that still suffers due to discrimination, redlining, not being able to get loans. You know, an Asian or Arab can come to America and get a loan to put a business in the black community before a black person can, which is nothing but another form of racism and discrimination to keep us down. But we find ways to overcome. And I think they just to see prosperity from black people it tears racist white people up. I guess they say a wise man once said that the greatest revenge is success. And I think that they think deep in our minds we have another form of revenge that we want to carry out of some sort. But hey, if that was the case, it'll be done. There's gangs and people of color out here shooting up every day for less. You know? A lot of our stars and black people of so-called wealth, they and I don't know for sure, I'm just telling you what my eyes see and what I interpret, that, you know, if your revenue is coming from a particular place, then you kind of got a gag on you. You kind of got a limit of association with your own people. And I believe this to be true with the likes of people like Oprah and a lot of others. They want to keep making that bag, you know. We got to understand that when it comes to us, black people in America, in a lot of cases, money isn't power, and power isn't money, you know. And I think a good example of that is the music industry. You get a plethora of artists who sign these these deals, you know, and this is maybe a little before the boom of the internet and things like YouTube. But they sign these deals and they get all this money, but they don't own their masters to their records. They don't own their publishing, and they're buying all these houses and things. And when they're not hot no more, and that cash flow at that level is not coming in, they don't even have their own works to fall back on. And that's one of the things Prince was preaching. You know, you got to get control of the one thing that we control, our culture. We're not controlling any of the resources, but we do have the power to get control of our culture and let that be the catalyst to lead to other things that we control that deals directly with us and our community. Stop allowing them to monetize what they don't have the power or creativity to create. And if they do, more power to them. But we all know, even them, that black culture is the only culture that goes around the world. And yes, black people do make a lot of money off of their culture, but not the most. And that has to stop. And when it does, we need to use that model to carry on to other genres of our life. So, Prosperity 2029. I'm writing it now. I'm going to enact it now. I'm calling out to whoever wants to be a part of this history. Subscribe. Reach out. Leave things in the comments. This is not a rush to hit the streets, marching and all that stuff. No, we're going to be strategic. We're going to pinpoint things. We're going to call out our engineers. I'm calling out our doctors. I'm calling out our educators. I'm calling out our youth. I'm calling out our celebrities. And we all need to get together and sit down how we're going to continue to move forward. Because when these 4 years is up, we should be in a system constructed by us. Their welfare isn't needed. At least not at the magnitude that is at. Because if the Asian man can come to America and have a Chinatown in every major city, if the Italian man can migrate over and have a little Italy.
Don't smoke in my
I'm
house,
doing a film, mama.